Hey everybody, how's everyone doing? I hope you had a great weekend. It's been a while since I've done a walking video and been pretty busy the past week, so I just wanted to come on and just talk about a recap about a trip that my husband and I took to Knoxville and Nashville, Tennessee this past weekend. I told my husband that I felt like it was time to get a little getaway for us before things get a little busy. These next upcoming months, we have some big plans, some things that we're trying to do. Um, so, vacate time probably won't be really feasible like that. But my husband started his journey with Christ about over 10 years ago. He was living in Kentucky and he felt that it was time. The Lord spoke to him actually, and told him that he needed to get to Charlotte. Now, he tells the story better than I can, but I'll tell little bits and pieces here and there, and then I'll talk about how that's important to this trip. So, my husband used to be an atheist, or just someone who didn't believe that he didn't believe in God. He didn't believe that God can do anything for us. He was, pretty much into himself. The only thing that mattered was his immediate family and whatever he had going on. He had no regard for God whatsoever. But he began being tormented by demons, and he heard God's voice tell him that he was there. He cried out to God and said, "If Jesus, if you're real, you know, help me or save." I don't remember what the exact words were, but the point is that God heard his cry, and ever since then, the rest is history. And when he left Kentucky, he started just driving and ended up in Nashville, Tennessee. Now, we went to the spot where my husband started walking through. His car broke down, so then he just started walking the highway. And it was just a very interesting experience. And there was a river that he was by. So when we went to Nashville this past Saturday, we were at that site. So I thought that was kind of cool, to revisit the spot where everything began for him. And, if it wouldn't have been this situation where he felt that he needed to leave Kentucky and come to Charlotte for whatever reason God wanted him here, I would have never met my husband. I myself never wanted to come to Charlotte. I left New Jersey in 2008 after many things happened in my life. That was the first time I had my own place. But it got to a point where I couldn't pay my bills. I couldn't pay the rent. I didn't know how to budget well. Very immature and just didn't understand. I was always a hard worker. I had good work ethic, but when it came to money and finances, failed miserably there. So I had no choice but to leave Elizabeth, New Jersey, and come to Charlotte with my family. And I've been here ever since. But it was nice because on the way to going to check out this river where my husband had a spiritual encounter, we met this homeless lady. And I don't really remember her name all too well. She was from Yugoslavia. And she was a very nice lady. And it was really sad because she wasn't old or anything. She was pretty young, 49. And we started listening to her story. And it started with my husband wanted to give her a few dollars. So he gave her a few dollars. And I had bought this new Gap coat at a thrift store in Knoxville. And I just felt led to ask the lady if she wanted an extra coat. But she said that she was okay because she had multiple layers on. And then there would be extra things for her to carry. And that's how we got into a conversation with her. What started off as just giving someone a few dollars ended up being I think we spoke with her for maybe 40 minutes or so. And you learn a lot. You learn the story, bits and pieces as to how someone ends up in the predicament that they're in. A lot of people scoff at homeless people. And when they see them standing in the corner, they think, oh, they just want that for drugs or they just want that for alcohol. And yes, it could be a possibility that that's what they want it for, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes they are genuinely trying to survive. And in her case, she was married in a mixed marriage, she said, and she had been in America for the past 6 years. And her husband got into some problems and had a divorce, and that's what started the journey for her to be homeless and living in the streets. And then she started talking about what it's like to live at the shelter and how everybody's in your business and how there's so much gossip going on in there. And what really hit me was the point where she was just like, sometimes I'd rather just be in the streets and not have a bed to lay on when there's just too much, when the drama is too much at the shelter. So that really hit home with me, because I'm like, wow, she has a place to stay, but she'd rather get away from it all so she could have a chance to think, and just sleep on a bench or something. She also has people who are prejudiced towards her because she comes from another country, and they just tell her, why don't you just go back to your country? Why are you here? You don't need to be here. And they have attitudes when they're standing in line to get food or to get medicine or to make sure they have a bed for the night. Sorry, I keep changing the phone back and forth when my arm gets tired. Now, so that was a very interesting encounter, and my heart was just so broken because I said to myself, I wish I was rich, I wish I had resources to help her with whatever she needed, to help her, if it's $1,000 for a flight to go back home, whatever she needs to get back home, that I could just been like, you know what, come with me, let's go, let's handle this right now. My heart really goes out to homeless people because every homeless person has a story. They didn't just boom, wake up and now they're homeless. A lot of people, it's not by choice. Things happen. We have to be very careful of how we treat other people because we never know when that could be us. When I left Miami with my kids, I almost became homeless for the night. There wasn't a single hotel room that was available. And I had a 1.5-year-old and like a 9-month-old baby. And it's just me and them. And I was in a predicament where I was like, yeah, I need to go. I need to leave before things get worse. And I know that the Lord was tugging at me like, hey, it's time to go now. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be different, but you got to do what you have to do. And I wasn't even serving him at that time. And even then, I knew that he was still, there for me. Now, a breakthrough happened, which like at 10:30 at night, someone decided to check out of their hotel room, which that typically doesn't happen. And that's how I was able to get a room for the night. But I was already thinking, I'm going to need to go find a bench to sit at with my children. I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do for the night. And even though I don't serve God right now, I better start praying. And I better start calling on him to protect us as we're going to be sitting here overnight on some bench until I can leave the next day. Didn't have that much money. Probably had I think I had like $70 to my name. My daughter was extremely hyper at the time. People would come in and out of the hotel. People would come and just be looking at you and, probably wondering, what's that girl doing? I was maybe 26, 27. And, so even though I did not end up being homeless that night, I almost became homeless that night. So I know what the scare of that. And I got to catch a very short little glimpse of what that would have been like. When you go to restaurants, if you get deliveries, tip the people. Tip the people who serve you. Unless, it's bad service, but tip people. I've learned that throughout the years. Tip, because you're being a blessing to someone else, and they're doing a service for you. So that extra $5-7 that you don't want to give, you're gonna spend it in something else anyway. Why not be a blessing to someone who's helping you get something that you could have just got up and went to go get it yourself? I did a Walmart delivery just a few minutes ago, and I saw the person was coming, and I saw it was something interesting, doing my walk, and I saw it was something interesting about their car. They had like a Wonder Woman sticker on there. And of course, I'm a big Wonder Woman fan. And I like to leave little samples of my products when they deliver the groceries on this little table I have by my door. But this time, I had to like walk super fast to catch up to them before they left. And the Lord said, give them a full size of your Wonder Woman sugar scrub. And I told him, hold on just a second. I like to give samples. Hold on. The Under Armour app is like talking in my ear. So I told the lady, hold on just a second. I always like to give a free sample or an extra tip when I have deliveries. So I ran in the house and I got the Wonder Woman scrub. I put in the nice little mesh bags that I have, and I gave it to them, and they were so surprised. People don't really expect stuff like that. So a lot of people in this world that are like cruel, have attitudes, and could be like mean, especially some Christian folk. I don't even want to get started on that one, because that will make this video super long. But you got some people who claim that they are believers, but they have some nasty behind attitudes. Like, why? Where's the love? Where's the love of Christ? You could be well versed. You can know Bible verses. You can know so many things. You could have had God himself come and speak to you. Now, if God himself came to speak to you and you had an encounter with him and you still have a nasty behind attitude, you need deliverance. But, I felt so good to be able to give her that product. She said, oh yeah, I love Wonder Woman. And, they drove away happy. And the retail value of that scrub is $15, and I didn't mind giving it to her for free because it's a kind gesture. I like to give things to people. That's just me. I've always been that way. So I'm not saying you have to give things away or whatever. It's just, all I'm saying is remember to pay it forward sometimes. Every now and then, even if it's once a month or something like that, do something nice for someone, because you'll never know. And don't do it because you're expecting something in return. But do it out of the kindness of your heart, especially if you're a child of God. God honors those things, And another reason, now staying on the subject of love, and when you're Christian, I went to this event, which is actually why we went to Nashville, of all places, for this getaway. There's a ministry that I follow on YouTube, and they were doing a prayer summit and basically praying for this nation, and we went to that event on Saturday. Now, it snowed in Nashville, and when we got to our hotel, plus they let us check in early, which was good. They're not used to getting lots of snow. But God is so good. We didn't have to deal with an ongoing storm. It had already happened, But even then, at the park that we were at, it was covered with snow. We have lawn chairs, and we're like sitting in the snow. And it was nice to be around, fellow believers and all that. But I didn't feel the anointing of God throughout the worship music. And me as a worship leader, that's something really important to me, because that helps usher in the presence of God for whatever is going to get done, for whoever's going to bring the word, whoever has a prophetic word or the prayer and all that. And I just wasn't feeling him like that at that event. But I will say, I was dealing with a lot of vertigo that day, and I felt better towards the end of the service. But I was very highly disappointed because I just didn't feel the glory of God in that place. And the worship leader, he had some things that he was saying that were kind of arrogant. And I wasn't really feeling that. I can understand if you're like within your own like church members and stuff like that. But if you're around people you've never known, you're kind of casting stones and kind of being a little judgmental. Nobody got time for that. So we didn't go back the next day, but God knows why he had us to go there. He knows what he was doing. My psoriasis got better over there. I really don't know why. It could be a combination of a lotion that my brother got for me. I never use eczema lotions. I always use psoriasis stuff. But I mean, I think this stuff is working wonders on my skin. And you know, it was pretty cool. I found a Puerto Rican restaurant in Knoxville, Tennessee. Like, who would have known? They had awesome food, nice hospitality. What else? I would say the highlight of the trip was meeting that homeless person. And now she's just someone added to me and Terrell's prayer list, you know. So another thing that was pretty interesting is there was a family friend that was going to be in the same area. And I had recently dreamed with this person a few days ago that their family was traveling. Didn't get to see the guy, but you know, it's kind of interesting how things happen, you know. Another thing that I thought was kind of strange was like the moon was out every day, like with the sun. I don't really know what that's called, but I know it's called something. But the moon was out with the sun on the other side. I'm like, wow, what is going on? But overall, it was a very nice trip. Me and my husband really reconnected. And we really needed that. You know, like I said, we have pretty important life-changing events upcoming, Lord willing. And we needed this time to get away and kind of just regroup and have a plan and, you know, get things in order for when those times come. So I hope that you're having a good day. Remember that anything that you put your mind to, that you need to do, that you want to do, you know, devil in hell is going to stop you from doing it. You know, if you're sick, remember to call on Jesus. Be nice. Be nice to someone today. When you get to that point where you feel you may just want to go off, take a moment, take a deep breath, and just breathe for a moment. And instead of going off and popping off on them, just pray. And speaking of pop off, I saw this commercial. There's this guy. I typically don't call other ministers and things like that people fake, but in this case, I do, because and I try to be very careful with that. But I mean, it's pretty obvious. So this dude, his name is Peter Popoff. Peter Popoff. This dude has these commercials where he is sending free miracle spring water to people who sign up. And they have these infomercials, these commercials, they come on late at night. And basically, they're like, it's ethnic people. They're all either black or from the islands, or Hispanic, and they're all talking about how they received a miracle in the mail. They received $10,000 checks. They received debt cancellation. They received all these things just from applying this miracle water on their bills or drinking the miracle water. And I'm like, man, if y'all don't sit down somewhere, like, these people are using these objects as a glorification tool, saying, oh yeah, God did it, but it's really to glorify themselves and have people, you know, follow them and donate to them, because this is how it works. They send you something free, and then their letters are probably going to be worded like, oh, if you sow this seed of $1,000 in faith, you'll have a 10-fold, 30-fold, or 100-fold return in what you sowed. Watch God move, and blah, 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 blah. And the people will fall for this stuff, and they may actually get blessed, you know, but it's a strategy to get people to sow into them and make this man rich. That's why he sends the free stuff to you, so that you can be locked in and hooked into whatever crap they're doing. And it's just ridiculous. That stuff really gets on my nerves. So yeah, I don't know, gained some weight during this trip, eating a whole bunch of stuff. Tried to eat healthy, but I tried my best. But without exercising and not having my typical routine of stuff, gain a few pounds. I got to get these pounds off, because I was doing good. I was at 175 again. But anyhow, well, that's all for now. Everyone have a great day, And remember to love on someone, and remember to pay it forward. Tip people who serve you. Be a blessing to other people. In Jesus' name. Bye-bye.